The operational side of senior living is where I have been for almost 30 years and been in many different roles and capacities, which has allowed me to be fluent in the operational processes from new developments, startups, all the way to stabilized communities that are looking to maximize operation efficiencies. This experience has allowed us at Avenue Development to develop an operations budget during the planning phases of new development, which is important to us to be able to merge the operations with the development, the construction budget, and give an accurate picture of the development during the planning phases. And this allows our financing partners to know that they have someone looking at and helping oversee their investment through an operational lens. These are three ways that Avenue builds for operational success. One way is that we bring operational success to a new development is the right sizing of the community. So in this environment, it's increasingly difficult to get a new development deal done. High interest rates, high construction costs, increase in operational costs, all of these things are pushing or leading to tighter margins. So obviously you still need to find the right market, high demand, the right demographics, all of those things are still incredibly important. But once we at Avenue have found that market and start planning for the community, one of the top items we always focus on is the efficiency of the building in relationship to the staff. We look at the number of residents that our staff will care for and then work to build the community to align with this efficiency. So for example, say a nurse can take care of roughly 40 residents, but we build 60 apartments. So obviously now this nurse has to take care of additional 20 residents, or the community is then forced to hire a second nurse, which then has both nurses working on about 75% efficiency. So maximizing operating margin is absolutely paramount in today's environment. And so right sizing a new development to maximize staff efficiency is a huge step in that direction. One way that Avenue Development brings operational success and efficiency is in the wellness capacity. Wellness has certainly been a top item that's always considered new construction over the past, decade or so. But coming out of the pandemic, I think wellness has even a greater spotlight. There are many facets to wellness, but I'm going to touch on the fitness, exercise space within a community. I think there are three critical components to get this right in senior living. First is the size of the room. The room needs to be inviting, lots of light, lots of color. There needs to be energy as you walk into the room. But it can't be too small, like the hotel room where you have a couple people who are working out and a third person would just make it too crowded. But it also can't be too large where you have such a spacious room where 2, 3, even 4 people working and it just looks cold and empty. The size of the room is really, really important. Second factor is the proper equipment for seniors. And this is something that we see missed all the time, right? We have big bulky equipment or equipment, the 10-in-1 machines that are just so intimidating to seniors. So what I like are simple equipment that have 1, maybe 2 movements per piece, very easy to use and very inviting for the seniors. And the third piece is proper programming. So many seniors have not spent a lot of time in gyms, exercising, fitness areas, etc. We have to help them get comfortable with these different thought processes, right? The idea of wellness and exercise just in general, but then specifically, how do we help them get trained on the new equipment, right? Some of them have never used specific equipment. So get them into the space, but then also helping them get trained and comfortable with how to use that equipment when they're there working out on their own. And then the third piece, and one that maybe gets missed, is how to devise a new program or an ongoing program, if you will. So they come in, they get all set up and they understand the equipment, but now what do I do? Do I do 5 sets? Do I do 2 sets? And how do you do this? So having somebody there that can make them feel comfortable, but then also devise this program and is there multiple months down the road, that as they complete this program, now they're there to help them move forward and take those next steps and help them see the benefit of these exercise programs. If you can get all of these 3 things right, the size of the room, the proper equipment, and the proper programming, you're on your way to having a great and a more vibrant community. With Avenue's operational knowledge, we were able to get these things right each time for each of our communities, helping them be more vibrant and keep our residents well longer. Designing with the end user in mind is critical. And most, if not all, senior living developers consider the end user being the resident, as do we, right? We all do. But at Avenue Development, we take an extra step and consider another end user, that being the employee. When you walk into a community, you can feel the employees smiling, engaging, having fun, right? What a difference that makes in the warmth of a community. So to that point, two things that we want to highlight that Avenue always considers at the start of development to help with employee satisfaction. So the first is the number of steps that the team takes throughout the day. Are they having to go up and down all day long, creating those additional steps? Or is there an opportunity that we can design the community in a way that creates more of a neighborhood, or more of a cluster of an area, keeping the amount of steps the employee takes throughout the day to a minimum? Another area we always look at is placement of elevators or stairs. In operations, you're always like, how do we keep the efficiency there? How do we keep the team members taking care of the residents the most efficient? And looking at time walking from place to place is critical. So if we can place the elevators or add an elevator into these different areas to reduce that time moving from corridor to corridor, from resident to resident, is critical in that efficiency and overall staff satisfaction. And the last is the employee lounge. This is so important, and it's always an afterthought. So at Avenue, we want to make sure that we have our team's well-being in mind. So this is their time to get away, to de-stress, to regroup, maybe take some time to think about their personal life and do a couple things during their lunchtime. So what are we doing to help with this? Do we have comfortable seating, right? Or is it the typical plastic chairs? Are we doing proper charging stations? And then last is do we have the right nourishment for people? So many times in these lounges, they have a pop machine and a snack machine, and they say, oh, there, we provided the right nutrition. But what's important to the employees? Do we ask questions? Do we ask them what they want? Are we engaged with them on a day-to-day basis? Right? You take a step to them, then they'll take a step forward to us. And nourishment and lunches are so critical to make sure that employees are happy and getting the things that they need to perform at their best. Happy employees, as you know, will drive satisfaction and good care for the residents. And at Avenue, as we develop and design our new communities and taking steps early in this development process will help the end result of higher employee satisfaction and ultimately higher resident satisfaction as well.